Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with If I Could Choose Only One Recording by Artist B. It would have to be work, I don't know, S? Pick a work, pick an artist. Well, this is a very interesting selection because I have to present it to the evil god Cankrazans, the evil god of classical music, who wants to destroy all of classical music, but for one work per composer and one work per artist, or one recording per artist. And this selection actually does double duty, to be honest with you, because the artist in question is Carlos Kleiber. Oy! Carlos Kleiber. Was there ever a conductor who was more mythologized in his lifetime than Carlos Kleiber? This is the guy who understood more than anybody that there is value in scarcity. The less that he did, the less he did, the more people screamed for him, the more he got paid, the more people wanted him to do. He made very, very few recordings. There are live things, of course, and whatnot. And I think it's actually rather interesting because his live things are really quite variable and show him to be really no better or worse than anybody else out there doing live things. He had good days and bad days. I remember quite vividly back when I was in, college and high school and whatnot, and all these pirate Carlos Kleiber things started showing up where he played, the same old stuff with crappy orchestras. And you know what? They were still crappy orchestras, and as often as not, they were not really great recordings and performances, and people were just raving. Oh, have you heard his live Borodin Second Symphony, or is this or that? And I was just like, is Beethoven Fourth on Orfeo? Remember that? Just not special. He did some great stuff. Yes, he did. He did do some great stuff. He was a very fine conductor when he wanted to be and when he was necessarily energized. I saw him live a couple of times, particularly doing Otello at the Met, which was really, really fabulous, with Placido Domingo and other people like that. So, yeah, there were some thrilling moments. There really were. But to select a recording, well, most people would probably say, go for his Beethoven's Fifth. It's the Beethoven's Fifth. Well, I've never thought that personally. I think it's very, very good, but I don't think it's all that. And the fact of the matter is that there are a million great Beethoven Fifths. So how is that going to help the cause of saving classical music from the evil clutches of Cankrazans if we just give him another Beethoven's Fifth? I know what he's going to say. He's going to say, why? I've got a million of these things. Who cares? Really? Seriously? I should wipe out all the Beethoven Fifths except for one. And, Carlos Kleiber isn't the one I'd save. It's not. I really think he did his best work in the opera house, on the whole. I really believe that. I think that he had a wonderful ability to unify a production, to get the cast to give their best, to deliver fabulous results from the pit. And so I think it's going to have to be one of his opera recordings, not one of his, rare and orchestral works where he did all the same things his dad did. And his dad, quite frankly, Erich Kleiber, did a lot of it better. So what is it going to be? Well, in the world of opera, it's got to be this, Der Freischütz by Weber. And I choose this for a lot of reasons. First, Freischütz is one of the most important operas ever written. Really, it created German Romanticism on the stage. It set the stage for Wagner and everybody who came later, and Strauss and all those people. He was hugely, hugely influential in its day. It was Mahler was having an affair with Weber's granddaughter or whatever it was, or something like that. And completed his own Weber opera. Weber is a much more important composer than we remember today because we don't play the music like we used to. There's only really one great opera, Freischütz. There's Euryanthe and Oberon and these other things, which contain fabulous music, but have their issues with staging and other things. So this was the opera that created that whole German romantic, demons in the woods, atmospheric, creaky, what they call in German shower romantic, which is horror, romantic horror music, horror movie music, and whatnot. And this is the one. This is the thing that did it. So it's an incredibly important work, and an incredibly beautiful work, and perfectly written, gorgeously scored. I mean, the four horns echoing from the forest in the overture before the big storm breaks out. I mean, it's just thrilling, thrilling music. And it doesn't get played as often as it should today. It really doesn't. I mean, it's an opera with dialogue. It has German dialogue and whatnot, so you have to put up with that stuff. But the bottom line is that it's an incredibly important piece, and this is possibly its greatest performance on disc. It has a wonderful cast. You've got Bernd Weichel, Siegfried Vogel, Gundula Janowitz as Agatha, who's the object of the demon Zamiel's affections, not affections, but he's going to want to kill her, actually, because she's so sweet. And Edith Mathis and Theo Adam. Peter Schreier is Max. He's their Freischütz, the hunter guy. And oh my goodness, it's so much fun. I mean, it's just endless fun listening to, first of all. And second of all, you've got the Staatskapelle Dresden, which is like the German orchestra, doing this work and sounding absolutely glorious, which is a big help too, because Carlos Kleiber, for all of his genius and whatnot, or whatever you want to call him, I mean, he needed a great orchestra to do his best work, because he needed the orchestra to do most of the work for him, the basics, so that he could concentrate on nuances of interpretation. And so he's got this orchestra that knows the piece cold and plays the daylights out of it, and it's just a fabulous set. And it's one that we tend to forget. It's funny to me. We talk about Carlos Kleiber all the time, and they'll talk about his Tristan and Isolde. We even talk about his La Traviata. We talk about his Beethoven's Fifth, his Brahms Fourth, and some other goodies like that. His Fledermaus even. All before people talk about Freischütz, which is probably the best thing he ever did on recording, and one of the most meaningful. One of the things where he really made a contribution to the discography. I mean, just a major contribution. So there it is, friends. The one recording by Carlos Kleiber that everyone's got to have, Der Freischütz. And you've got to have Der Freischütz anyway. So get the best one. Why not? So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me, and take care.